Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're moving right along from where we last left off, where we were cutting back for the main frame leg here all the way back to this area. And I decided to I haven't pulled it off yet, but this panel here I've been drilling out all the spot welds because I just wanted to check in behind that. I may make a whole new panel, I haven't decided yet, but let me get you in and show you what we've revealed behind this final end panel that we've removed and why I did it. And it's a good thing we did. Not heavy rust, but a few things we need to take care of. So let me get you in and I'll show you. So as I say, this is the final leg inside the trunk area here. I've been breaking all the spot welds here. Not too worried about this panel because, as I say, at least I'm going to remove and cut new metal in at the bottom because it was all corroded down here. This tucks in behind the wheelhouse here, a little tricky to get in behind there because there was a little couple of dob welds here that I had to cut through, as well as the spot welds that are very difficult to get this side. So let me see if it will come out now. Kind of left it to show you guys on camera. So let's just break it from behind the, there we go, just a bit of, move that out of the way, there we go. So we've got this panel out, and you know, bit of surface rust on the inside here. Maybe we'll just make a new one of those, shall we? But anyway, so let me get you into the rear frame leg here. Right, so starting at the front here. This is a lot of this is just surface rust. I figured it was just surface rust here. I'll take a wire brush through all this. Moving along here. Looks like so. Oh, this is the clamp for the fuel tank underneath here. There's a bracket still attached here, so that's supposed to be there, that hole. As is that one. That's another drainage hole. Just a lot of surface rust and dirt and filth here. This is solid metal, but I'll clean all that up. Alright, where we get a little dodgy is right in a little corner here. I'm assuming moisture has kind of sat and then trickled down and sat in the corner and then has made a little rust hole here, along with this tab has kind of rotted off. See, that's where I was having trouble breaking through, breaking my panel away. So first things first, we'll get all this surface rust off and see where we're at. Straighten this up a little bit, so a few dents and stuff here, and then see what we can repair. That's not bad actually. So now we're finally back to the rear of the car. Once this panel goes in, we can start moving ourselves backwards. So let me take a wire brush to all this junk and see what it looks like. There it is, just lightly cleaned up, got all the filth and stuff off. This is all just surface rust here. I will treat this with a Permatex to get into all the lows, but it's all very solid. I'm very glad I opened that up actually, just peace of mind really, and taking care of this little mess here. I'm going to dive underneath and show you what's going on here, but this is, I'll mention that it's a hole that was used for this blooming thing. This went through like that, and what that was someone attached a tow hitch to this, believe it or not. I ended up giving that tow hitch to my friend Stone, and so yeah, I'll never put a tow hitch. I don't intend towing a caravan with this or doing dump runs, so I'll get rid of this, and when I get a chance I'll plug that hole, weld that up nice and smooth, so that's gone. So as I say, I'm going to come back to around here and then that will take care of all this. Alright, we're underneath right now. I've cut back some of the underseal here. You can see the corrosion here. This is the lower mount point for the rear bumper. I can take that out because my bumper is attached to the rotisserie in several other ways as well, so we can remove that safely. I will get rid of this and this all in one hit by coming back to around here, and we'll run a weld on the inside of this box along this edge. We don't have to go up here, and then I won't try pulse welding under here until the car is tipped on its side on the rotisserie, and then we can tidy this up, but we'll get it basically in. Right, so that's the section we cut out. Like I say, I went past that hole that was drilled for the tow hitch. So I made up a piece. Okay, this hole here is where the mounting bracket for the rear bumper goes through. So it's handy as well because it will act as a holder for this plate when it goes in. I put 3 spot weld areas there as well. I may do another one just there. Okay, so this guy goes in here, and that gets, I can just bolt that in there, you see. And I put zinc, or actually copper primer. I'm out my zinc weld through primer. I put copper in between, and so that can be pulse welded up all the way on here. And I'm not going to try pulse welding on this side until I turn the car. Because what's the point? It'll be just going in your face. And so as long as we've got a base point to jump from there, I'll probably decide whether to just make a new one of these. This little crease is a little tricky here, but it's just like curve and a crease here, and then this big hole. Whether I'll do a hole as large as that, I think it's kind of unnecessary. I may do a more modest size hole here to enable me to inject cavity wax. Not sure why they made that so big. Let us know if you know why. I'm really unsure why they made that so big. So I might, just for a bit of fun, make up a new one of these, and then it's all fresh then, isn't it? So that, I think, is for the next video. Before this gets sealed in, as I say, I'm going to coat all this up. I've got to be careful. I won't put any of my my cavity paint on this join here. I'll just treat this join with copper weld through, because when I pulse weld this way, I don't want it reacting with regular paint. We didn't get round to repairing this little edge in this video, but I'll take care of that. You've seen all that before, so I'll take care of this all the way up, and then we're all ready to rock and roll and ready to build our way out. This is the torsion bar mount. So what that is, this is all solid through here, and it laps onto this unit here, and there's like a flange here. So what I'm going to do, get this thing out of here, right? So I'm going to cut this right out, just roughly here, detach this mount from this metal, right? Make our metal plate up to replace all this junk, and then remount this guy on that mount, and then I'll probably put a reinforcement plate at the back as well, spot welding it all in, so give it some extra backing. So let me cut this guy out. We know where this is going back in because of our reference plate stays, so it will go back in exactly the same area. So let me cut that guy out. Okay, so what was hanging me up was that this is a plate and it's back welded around the back, so I had to cut around that. So we've just got to break this mount from this metal. We'll repair all this, get this all like strong as ours is, do this repair, and then we'll get that mounted back on there. So you can see this is where I started to score through, but realised I was welded at the back here. So anyway, that's just the metal here anyway. So you can see it was just moisture sitting there. So anyway, we'll get this sorted out. So here it is on the bench here in the vise. I've just got to break this bodywork, the frame metal from the bracket. The bracket kind of hooks around here, so there's the solid stuff. This, I'll probably just sand it off. This should come off the main bracket pretty easy. Yeah, let me get that sanded up and bracket cleaned up, and I'll get back to you. You can make it so thin that it will just break off of here, see? So you can see there's a couple of drain holes here that, you know, is supposed to stop what has happened from happening, but unless those are in the, and I couldn't see because it was so rusted, in the plate itself here, then they're not going to do much, are they? So let's weld that up, and then this is all ready for remounting when I repair the base of it. Alright guys, so I cleaned up that bracket, got it pretty nice and clean here, see, that's all ready. I welded up where I'd cut through accidentally, or didn't cut through, I kind of scored it up. But I've got to drill a little drainage hole just like there was before, so that is as is, and I'll get in all the corners and try and clean up as best as possible. But now that's ready for mounting back on to whatever plate we end up putting on there. Probably be spot welded through in several places, and then well, but originally it was bead welded around the edge of this, so I'll probably just do the same. So now that that's all cleaned up, cleaned the bracket on the bench, I've coated it with a copper coating, drilled the hole through, okay, and so off camera I made, you know, you've seen me making before, a little plate to go in here. I'll get you in close in a sec. I used a bit of this thicker cardstock, you know, that I like to get from Staples or office supply places. You know, it's got some stiffness to it, so it don't flop. So I made a little template. This is the template I made, actually. I think this is the one that I made with the certain angles to cut into the frame leg here. And so we bent that. I've drilled some holes for the spot weld, and that is so that this bracket with its bolt, I can locate it on that arm underneath there, get it secure, and then this bracket will get positioned, spot welded through. Okay, so I'm going to spot weld this, make sure the alignment is correct, spot weld this, and then once that's in, then I'm going to have a secondary brace that's going to come on top like this, and then spot welded in the metal, the parent metal surrounding it, and probably lift up here. So this is extremely reinforced. And then on the underside here, I won't be welding underneath. I'll wait until the car is turned, and then I'll tidy up these welds and make this all nice on this side. No point me laying on my back under here when it's not necessary. But let's get that set in there and aligned, and we'll go from there. Now, as far as the rear panel that I've already removed back here, as I say, we've made our little repair patch there, and this is the piece that came out. Now, I was fully intending, I've actually marked it out on my piece of steel to make another one of these, but one of the members of the Mercedes Maintenance Facebook group, Angus, I believe is in UK, he's pretty much at the same location of where I am, and we've been messaging back and forth, talking about details around this area. And Angus had been able to locate some new panels like this. They call them strike plates from Mercedes. So I called out the Classic Center in Long Beach, and I've got one of those on order. So that's going to take about 10 days to get here. So we won't be able, this video I won't be able to put that panel on, but we've got plenty to do. So, and that was only $95, you know, my price from the Classic Center. So we'll wait for the next video to fit that panel. And so let's get this lined up, and I'll get you in close so you can see where we've got. So there it is in place, basically just using a few magnets to hold it in, and this can be trimmed, and this is going to get replaced along here, so don't worry about that. So get this in first. This is our bracket, and so you can see that positions nicely in there. The bolt is right through that back hole area, that back bracket, so these marks are giving me an indicator where, and then I'll just clamp that in position, and I can spot weld and know that it's just going to go back where we want it. Right, okay, so here it is. I put the clamp on our patch here. I can transfer it to the bench now and spot weld through, so that's locked together. And as I say, I will finish this welding process once the car's turned up, but this will give us correct positioning to move further on, and then we can put our reinforcement backing plate I'm going to probably do an L-shaped one so it rides up on this backing plate and then grabs the parent metal, so it's extremely strong. So there we have it. Alright, so I've welded that, put 4 spot welds here. I did do a little bead weld run here from the undersides. A little tricky to weld thicker metal to the thinner metal. You got to kind of play on the top here. It went a little low here, but I'll correct that when I turn the car upside down. So there it is. I didn't weld this yet because we might do some manipulating of this edge. So here it is attached now. So we can use our bracket at the back here, and essentially we know now, a minute, let me get a nut ready. So we know that now we can use that bracket to locate this piece in position. There we go, something like that, you see. Like I say, we've got a little playing around to do and fettling, but that bolt now is holding that in position. And so now we'll tighten up, and then we can make our plate here, which again we'll spot weld onto our piece, and then we can position it and weld it in. Oh, there you have it. You got the idea. I've got my paper template here to represent our reinforcement plate. So I'm going to cut this out of metal, bend it into shape, get it formed nicely, and then because the back here is a little curved, I'll have to weld on the rear plate that goes on here, so it has to be kind of tailor fitted. This might be a bit of a pole vault over a mouse turd, as they say, but I kind of like to know that it's strong. And obviously everything will be copper weld through primered, so there's no rust in between the two metal. So here it is. This is the plate I've come up with. So all I've got to do now is just bend that by hand, really. I mean, it's just 18 gauge. Just get that flexed into position, so I'm comfortable with that. Like so, I'll get that in there, and I'll get back to you. And then what we'll do, we'll weld a back plate on here to strap it to the back. Yeah, what I did, I clamped it here, removed our bracket because that's all set now. So then I just used this little clamp to kind of just mess around here and kind of get us our fold that we want, like that. See, and then we'll just clamp that in position, and then we can backplate this now. So let's do that, and we've got to remember to drill our drainage hole that's on this piece through our extension plate. Also, we've got to remember to manipulate it so we're not relying on the clamps to push it into position, because it's just got to set in now, just gently like on its own. Right, because if we don't do that, obviously when I take this off it's going to spring up, and then we'll weld our back plate and it won't be in the right position. So we'll get that really nice and comfortably set in there, and then we can safely put our back plate on. I'm happy with that. So there it is, all magnetized into place. That corner that's lipped out a bit, it doesn't matter because I'm going to round that and bend that into position. So now what we can do is just take that bench and weld it up. So I can take that out, see, and we'll weld that. We'll weld all this up so it looks all as one. So there it is, all welded up. Just run a bunch of tacks along here, and it's a little bit off. Got good penetration through, so I'm just going to tidy that edge up, and then we'll try fit it, and then we'll bend that little corner in to follow the inner rocker there, or inner frame leg I should say. Let's try and fit that guy. There you go. That'll sit up there nicely, like that. Right, there you go guys. I just kind of tapered it up a little bit, went a little wider here, put some round on here. This should fit there nicely now. I clamped it in position off camera and bent this little tab in so it touches all this back metal here, and then so we've got to just find where we're going to put our rosette, plug welds through here, and I'll show you something off camera in a second. But and then what I did, I marked here where that is, so we'll spot welding or plug welding here, and then I'll do a kind of a row of 3 here, so that when this bracket's in, then we can rosette weld to the back of the bracket as well. And so these ones, let me show you. I'm going to do some tests before, but I'm going to show you what I ended up buying just the other day, mainly for the panel, mainly for this panel. I'll show you. So there you go, a little spot welder. Now those of you in the States probably recognize this. I picked this up at Harbor Freight, a fairly very kind of cheaper store here in the States. They do actually have some pretty decent tools there, but I've watched some tests of these spot welders. This is the 240 volt version, and I'm yet to even put a plug on it, and I'm going to run some test panels, and that's what I'm going to use to spot weld that strike plate that we're waiting from Mercedes. And so the only thing is, it's a fairly hefty unit. I did some modifications already just to make me feel better about myself. As you can see, with a little tape and a Sharpie, I've just obviously improved the machine tenfold, but at the same price. So I will be testing that in the next few days and seeing how it works. But we can get this bracket in here, I think, now, and this can do the rest of it. There we have it. We've got it all with the copper weld through there. So about receiving bolts here, and make sure we're not, yeah, receiving bolts here, and then what we've got to do now, this should, there we go. So now this is where we're going to use our new spot welder in these points, but now we can rosette weld or plug weld all through this back plate, all through this on the bench, and so there we go. So there we have it all locked together now. So let's go and offer this up one final time. Right, there it is. A little tricky to get in there, a bit cramped in here. So I got a bunch of plug welds in along here, and then I put a few little tacks on the top. I'm not going to bother tidying that up because no one will ever see it, but it's strong as houses in there. And so then when we can come in with our spot welder, probably put 6 spots here, 6 or so spots here, and then bead weld it or tack weld it underneath here once the car turns around, and that will be solid as a rock. And I may even put some seam sealer around this edge here so moisture doesn't find its way under between these plates. So that is it for this one, I think. All right, you'll have to excuse the background noise. The wife's watching a movie in the next room. So I hope you enjoyed that video. It was a long one, I know, but it got kind of complex. So in the next one, we're going to get that strike plate in and finish the repairs towards the back. And this won't be fully finished, this bracket area, until we tip the car, but that's for a ways down. But the internals are all sealed up, and as I say, I'm going to put a little brush seam sealer around all these seams as well, I think, just to, while it's open, and see how that seam sealer spreads. That should be a good test place. And before we close all this up, as I keep saying, I'm sure I've said it ad nauseum, is seal everything off with a cavity paint. So I hope you're enjoying these series of videos. I know it kind of can get a little tedious after a while, but this is all part of it, finding things like this and taking care of it and try and make it as strong as possible, so you never have to go back in again. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you in the next one, and take care. Please hit like, share, subscribe, and have a good one. Bye bye.